My girlfriend cheated with someone she told me not to worry about. I'm not even sure how to begin this post because my mind is still reeling from everything that's happened. My girlfriend Emily and I had been together for 3 years. I thought we were solid. Sure, we had the occasional argument like any other couple, but overall we were happy, or so I thought. Emily has a co-worker named Ryan. When she first mentioned him, I didn't think much of it. She described him as a funny, outgoing guy who kept things lively at the office. I'd seen his name pop up in conversations on her phone a few times, but it always seemed friendly. Work-related jokes, the occasional meme, nothing out of the ordinary. Then, about 6 months ago, I noticed that Ryan's name started coming up a lot more. Emily would casually mention that she had lunch with him, or that they were working late on a project. When I jokingly asked, "Should I be worried about this? Ryan guy," she laughed and said, "Of course not, he's just a friend, besides he's not even my type." I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? Emily had never given me a reason to doubt her before, but then little things started to bother me. She was suddenly a lot more protective of her phone. She started going out with friends more often, but couldn't always give me clear details about who she was meeting or where they were going. When I asked her about it, she'd brush it off and tell me I was overthinking things. The breaking point came last weekend. Emily told me she was going to a coworker's birthday party, but something about the way she said it felt off. I asked if I could come along, and she quickly said, "It's just going to be a small work thing. You wouldn't have fun." That answer didn't sit well with me, but I didn't want to seem controlling, so I let it go. That night I decided to hang out with my best friend, Jake. As we were playing video games, Jake got a notification on his phone. His girlfriend, who works in the same office as Emily, had just posted an Instagram story. Out of curiosity, Jake opened it, and there she was. Emily sitting way too close to Ryan at a bar, laughing and leaning into him. My stomach dropped. Jake immediately asked if I was okay, and I lied, saying I was fine. But inside, I was boiling. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, so I decided to confront Emily the next morning. When she came home, I asked her how the party was. She said it was fun but uneventful. I then pulled out my phone, opened the Instagram story, and showed it to her. She froze. Her face went pale, and she started stammering, saying, "It's not what it looks like." I asked her to explain, and at first she stuck to her story about it being harmless. But after pressing her, she finally admitted that she and Ryan had been seeing each other for a couple of months. She said it started innocently with late-night conversations after work, but eventually escalated into something more. She swore they only kissed a couple of times and that it hadn't gone further, but at that point I didn't believe a word coming out of her mouth. I asked her why. Why would she betray me like this? Her answer made my blood boil. "I don't know. I guess I just felt like something was missing in our relationship." I packed a bag that night and left. I'm currently staying at Jake's place while I figure out what to do next. Emily has been texting and calling nonstop, begging me to come back and saying she'll cut Ryan out of her life. But I don't know if I can trust her again. The image of her with him is burned into my mind, and I feel sick every time I think about it. To make matters worse, Ryan has been texting me too. He sent me a message saying, "I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean for this to happen." As if that makes it any better. He knew we were together and he still chose to pursue her. I'm at a crossroads right now. Part of me wants to try to work things out with Emily because 3 years is a long time to throw away. But the other part of me knows I deserve better than someone who would betray me like this. What do you think? Am I overreacting? Or is this unforgivable? Should I try to salvage the relationship? Or is it time to walk away for good? I'd appreciate any advice or insights you can offer. Intersect 1. It's been about a week since I found out about Emily's betrayal, and things have gone from bad to worse. After leaving her that night, I thought I'd have some time to clear my head and figure out my next steps, but life had other plans. Emily has been relentless in her attempts to reach me. She's texted me every day, called me multiple times, and even showed up outside Jake's apartment twice. The first time, Jake told her to leave, and she reluctantly did. But the second time, she started crying and begging me to talk to her. I agreed, mostly to get her to stop causing a scene in front of Jake's neighbors. We went to a nearby coffee shop and she poured her heart out. She admitted that she'd been unhappy in our relationship for a while but didn't know how to communicate it. She said Ryan was just there when she needed someone to talk to and that it just happened. I told her that cheating doesn't just happen and that she had countless opportunities to stop before it got to that point. She insisted that she wanted to make things right and promised to cut Ryan out of her life completely. She even showed me a text she sent him, saying she couldn't see or talk to him anymore. But I couldn't shake the feeling that it was too little, too late. A few days later, I got a message from an unexpected source, Ryan's girlfriend. Apparently, she had no idea what was going on until Ryan confessed after I confronted Emily. She reached out to me on social media asking if we could talk. We ended up meeting for coffee, and let me tell you, it was one of the most surreal experiences of my life. Ryan's girlfriend, who I'll call Laura, was understandably devastated. She told me that Ryan had been acting distant for months and that she'd suspected something was wrong but never imagined he'd cheat. She also shared some screenshots of texts between Ryan and Emily that she found on his phone. Let's just say those messages painted a very different picture from the story Emily told me. While she claimed they only kissed a couple of times, the texts made it clear that their relationship was much more physical. There were also messages where they joked about keeping their affair a secret and even mocked the idea that I might suspect something. Seeing those messages was like a punch to the gut. Any lingering doubts I had about leaving Emily vanished in that moment. I blocked her number and all her social media accounts that night. Laura and I decided to keep in touch, partly to support each other and partly to make sure Ryan and Emily didn't try to manipulate us further. It's strange to find comfort in someone else's pain, but Laura and I have become an unexpected source of strength for each other. For now, I'm focusing on moving forward. I've started looking for a new place to live because I can't stay at Jake's forever. I've also been leaning on my friends and family who have been incredibly supportive. They all agree that I deserve better and that walking away from Emily was the right decision. Still, part of me can't help but wonder what could have been if Emily had just been honest with me from the start. Was there something I could have done differently to prevent this? Or was this always going to happen, no matter what I did? I'm trying not to dwell on those questions too much, but it's hard. I know healing takes time, but some days it feels like I'll never fully get over this. Update 2. It's been a few weeks since I blocked Emily, and I can finally say that I'm beginning to feel like myself again. The initial shock and heartbreak have started to fade, though there are still moments when the pain resurfaces unexpectedly. But through it all, I've made progress in ways I didn't think were possible when this all started. After the last update, Emily found another way to reach me. She sent a long, handwritten letter to Jake's apartment, pleading for one final chance to explain herself. Jake left it up to me whether I wanted to read it or not, and after some thought, I decided to open it. The letter was emotional, pages filled with apologies, excuses, and attempts to justify her actions. She blamed her own insecurities, the stress of life, and even hinted that our relationship lacked spark. She claimed she didn't mean to hurt me, but she admitted that she felt something exciting and new with Ryan. As I read her words, I realized something important. I no longer cared. It didn't matter what excuses she made or how much she regretted her choices. She had already shown me who she was, and no amount of words could undo the damage. I didn't respond to her letter. Instead, I threw it in the trash and decided that was the last time I'd let her take up space in my life. Meanwhile, Laura, Ryan's ex, and I have continued to talk. We've become unlikely friends, bonding over our shared experience and helping each other process what happened. It's strange how someone I'd never met before has become such a vital part of my healing journey. Through Laura, I learned that Ryan and Emily are still in contact. Apparently, they're trying to keep their relationship going, though it's already filled with arguments and drama. According to Laura, Ryan told her he regrets everything and wishes he could undo the mess he's made. But it's hard to take that seriously when he's still seeing Emily. Hearing this used to hurt. but now it just feels pathetic. They deserve each other, and I'm grateful to be free of both of them. On the brighter side, I've started to rebuild my life. I found a new apartment, a small but cozy space that's entirely my own. Decorating it has been surprisingly therapeutic, a way to reclaim my independence and create a space that reflects who I am. I've also thrown myself into hobbies I used to love, but had neglected during my relationship with Emily. I've been hitting the gym regularly, reading more, and even taking a cooking class. It's amazing how much lighter I feel now that I'm not carrying the weight of her deceit. As for my social life, my friends have been incredible. They've rallied around me, inviting me to hang out and making sure I'm not alone too often. One of my closest friends, Sam, even set me up on a blind date last week. I was hesitant at first. I didn't think I was ready to date again so soon. But I figured it couldn't hurt to meet someone new, even if it was just for a casual dinner. The woman Sam introduced me to, Mia, was sweet, funny, and easy to talk to. We had a great time. And while I'm not rushing into anything, it felt good to connect with someone who saw me for who I am. Of course, Emily found out about the date. I don't know how. Maybe she's still keeping tabs on me through mutual friends or social media. She sent me a furious email accusing me of moving on too quickly and saying it was proof that I never cared about her. I didn't bother responding. If there's one thing I've learned through all of this, it's that I don't owe her anything. Not my time, not my explanations, and certainly not my guilt. The journey isn't over, and I know there will still be tough days ahead. But, for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful. This experience has taught me so much about myself, about love, and about what I'm willing to accept in a relationship. What do you think? Should I have given Emily one last chance to explain herself? Or was I right to leave her behind and focus on my own happiness?